Tzu Chi volunteers and staff participate in a sutra performance along with performing arts groups to celebrate 55 years. A look back at Tzu Chi's 55 years includes one special asteroid and the lifelong devotion of a specially committed volunteer. I'm Sean Scanlon. This is Dai Headline. Tzu Chi's 55th anniversary celebration was recently held with a sutra adaptation divided into two performances. Volunteers participate in the sutra adaptation along with 4 major performing groups and management personnel of Tzu Chi affiliates. Let's take a look.
To celebrate the Tzu Chi 55th anniversary, 3 generations of volunteers and the 4 theater troupes collaborate with each other to present the Lotus Sutra adaptation.
It extracts the essence of 55 years and then uses what Tzu Chi volunteers have done in the past to present the classic meaning of the Lotus Sutra, Sutra of innumerable meanings.
What they present is what we usually do. As long as the patients are in need, we deliver patient-centered care and we step in to help them.
In the whole performance, apart from the sound of the chanting scriptures, there are long lines. It used body language to convey the story of human sufferings and Tzu Chi's deeds to help others.
My tears are about to fall, and I can feel the suffering of people coming into this world, and there's no way to describe it in words. Presenting with body language can better reflect such feelings. Therefore, we must also put the cycle of inner goodness into everyone's heart.
It takes 2 hours to interpret the past 55 years of Tzu Chi's history. Every moment and step has a profound meaning. The disasters and sufferings in the world are like a burning house. Like the father of all living beings, the Buddha told in parables and guide poor children away from the suffering. The 4 major art troupes sang repentance text, which was inspiring. The representatives of the 4 Tzu Chi missions made a sincere wish.
This is sutra adaptation, not acting. We made vows. The 4 Tzu Chi missions are united and coordinated. On the Bodhisattva path, Bodhisattvas must work together.
The interpretation is magnificent and profound sense of Buddhism. Especially, the Master said that this year is a great lesson of our times. Although this is a religious ritual, it is even more of a site of education.
Buddhist sutra performance is elegant and beautiful as the world should be.
文华如在文，音律那样的优美普遍呐、在空间，就如那样的大地有生机，看到了树木茂密啦的丛林呢，绿意盎然。
The Dharma joy we experience at the ceremony is always in our mind, and the truth of Buddhism will be in the world forever.
The culmination of Tzu Chi's 55th anniversary event was a sutra adaptation with involvement for 460 on-stage volunteers, many of who are elderly. Here's more.
To perfect the sutra performance, the volunteers rehearsed their steps over and over.
Amongst the volunteers in the performance, one can see many of them are elderly.
My thought is that I want to follow the master life after life, walking on the Bodhisattva path and learn from the Lotus Sutra, which is all about love, and help spread it to all sentient beings.
During the performance, the volunteers must keep up their strength while remembering their choreography. It's even a test on their vision, as they need to make sure they hit their marks.
Sometimes the performance is slower, so our brains can rest a little, but throughout the whole thing our brain has to be stimulated.
We need to remember the choreography as well as the words to the sutra. Looking back, I've been working very hard these past few days, but it has been worth it. I feel like participation helps me stay young.
The elderly volunteers are very dedicated to their parts in the onstage performance, which has the younger volunteers impressed.
Seeing the senior bodhisattvas having so much energy also influences me to bring my A game to this practice. Sometimes I feel that young people do not have that same level of enthusiasm or the ability to see things through as the older volunteers.
Whether young, old, or somewhere in between, all the volunteers dedicate their time and energy to putting on the best sutra adaptation.
Much goes into the backstage setting for the 55th anniversary of Tzu Chi Sutra adaptation event. The backdrops were utilized to show the history of Tzu Chi. Let's take a look at how the whole adaptation is put together.
For Tzu Chi's 55th anniversary sutra adaptation performance, everything is well thought out, even the backdrops and images shown.
This time our presentation is using real photographs as backdrops, but what photographs to use, we discussed it with the rest of the team. So we used the big screen as the backdrop for the onstage performance, and then projection to support the rest of the set, so bring about a real sense of the scenery for the audience.
The backstage team edit again and again just to make sure the images are displayed just right for the sutra performance. Looking back at the images for the performance, friends and past memories come up.
Most of the senior bodhisattva have passed on. Those images of our shared time which pass on the screen has elicited many memories, which is why I cried.
The past 55 years with all the ups and downs alongside sutra messages becomes a performance one should not miss.
In Ormoc City, Philippines, Great Love villagers held a prostrating pilgrimage for 3 consecutive years. A cow named Alfreda, brought by a Tzu Chi volunteer with the hope of assisting villagers in farming, is now 8 years old. It joins a pilgrimage each year. Take a look.
The owner of the cow, Virgilio, put an exclusive wreath on the cow Alfreda. To celebrate Tzu Chi's Foundation 55th birthday, the Great Love Village in Ormoc City of the Philippines hosted a prostrating pilgrimage as usual. And the cow Alfreda was not absent for the past 3 years. This cow was to be sent to the slaughterhouse originally in 2017 when it was 4 years old. It was bought by a Tzu Chi volunteer and gave to Virgilio, who is a Great Love villager. After adopting it, Virgilio taught it Tzu Chi humanities. Beyond expectation, Alfreda is very sagacious. For 3 consecutive years, it follows its master and the Great Love villagers to join in the prostrating pilgrimage. Due to the pandemic, there were 120 participants taking part in the prostrating pilgrimage this year. Some villagers brought with the flowers, vegetables and fruits they grew to worship piously, expressing their gratefulness to the earth.
This is the 3rd year for me to join the prostrating pilgrimage. In every year, Tzu Chi's anniversary, I also wanted to join because Tzu Chi has been helping us a lot. I hope this power of love can be continued to help more people in need.
after the prostrating pilgrimage, volunteers even performed sign language to express their willingness to go meatless. It is hoped that this gathering of love can make the pandemic cease as soon as possible.
In 1966, the Buddhist Tzu Chi Foundation was established. One early follower was 69-year-old Wang Yuqing, a Tzu Chi volunteer who first met the master when she was only 9 years old. This elderly volunteer has a steadfast path, much like the first asteroid that was discovered in Taiwan, which was given the name Tzu Chi. In the vast universe, Taiwan's first asteroid was named after a religious group. In 2010, National Central University Graduate Institute of Astronomy applied to the International Astronomical Society for approval for asteroid 192208 to be officially named Tzu Chi.
It is not easy for us to discover an asteroid. It should be a special moment, as we also named this asteroid internationally. And we found some of the most outstanding organizations and people to name it after, so we regard Tzu Chi as our first choice. Since the asteroid was named Tzu Chi, it revolves around the sun while looking at Earth. It's a bit like having this Tzu Chi asteroid in the sky, or in the universe, is what they call in English having a guardian angel. And the Tzu Chi asteroid is also looking at us and watching what we are doing.
The Tzu Chi asteroid, which orbits the sun, can be tracked and the direction is always the same. Much like this asteroid, Wang Yuqing, who is 69 years old this year, when she was 9 years old, she encountered 24-year-old Master Zheng Yan in Taidong.
因为那时候真的很小，只是知道说修道法师旁边那个大姐姐，好。
Because I was really young at that time, I just knew that the elder girl next to Master Xiu Dao was performing a Buddhist ceremony and was doing everything so well. I thought, whoa, she's so excellent, and I even told my mother that I want to worship her in the future. At that time, we all call her Jing Si.
那时候我们都叫景叔啦，哎呀，景叔公后。
This oral promise soon began part of her daily ritual, as she would do this as promised. Now every day, Wang Yuqing starts her day with listening to the Master's Dharma, which is part of her daily routine.
这个小乾坤嘛，譬如亲像一间厝，那这间厝呢，位置伫倒位，是虾米款的厝吼？那这拢总是呢，是咱与生俱来的。
好，那我们就继续手牵手往前走吧。感恩大家今天陪我熏法，感恩，
感恩有请吗？
感恩。上人那时候。
The master often told me that she remembered me as a little girl. She didn't realize I am now with white hair.
现在是白头发。
The master also kept telling us that we should focus on the right direction and go towards that direction. The good thing about Tzu Chi is that if you even become the chairman of the board, you have to pick your food when you arrive here. That is to say that everyone is equal regardless of your position or being rich or poor when you come to Tzu Chi. There are people better than me, and people who may not have been drawn in yet, or come in yet, or have not been on the same track as us, and we pull them along.
Walking together, this trail of compassion traces back 55 years ago when Master Zheng Yan founded Tzu Chi with 30 local ladies who donate just 5 cents to save other people.
Music has some low bass notes. When you see people playing the piano, it may seem that they're playing with great strength, but the sound is very low and sometimes you may not hear it. I think that this is the spirit of Tzu Chi, which is like a very low tone, but became the sound of the earth today.
Tzu Chi's core belief is that it permeates everyone, knowing that we have to give, not only to help people, but also to guide and help other people. This is the key to our global community of Tzu Chi. Being able to establish long-term localized charity is Tzu Chi's rarest achievement among global NGOs.
The COVID pandemic will pass, but the problem of climate change will be worsened only. I think that the entire environmental education, or the environmental movement, is needed to be developed faster and attract more people to respond. So if I think there is no Tzu Chi, we will certainly make progress, but maybe go a little bit slower with less people involved. I think Tzu Chi is not just good for Taiwan, but for the whole world, a very important force of goodness.
The long span of history, there have been many important events, and every Tzu Chi volunteer, though just a tiny figure, occupies a tiny corner of the universe, showing that love and compassion is also boundless. At Tzu Chi's 55th anniversary, the directors and colleagues from Tzu Chi's 4 missions gathered as blessings and prayers were in place. Through 12 different languages and holographic projections, people at the venue prayed for world peace.
Starting from a kind seed, for 55 years, Tzu Chi grew as it established 4 missions, helping people from all around the world.
We
are learning Master Zheng Yan's broad mind. We must follow her footsteps and pray for more people. We represent Tzu Chi as a small planet. It also means that we spread our spirits eternally.
In 35 years, Tzu Chi's hospitals around the world had received over 63 million patients.
Master Zheng Yan promoted charity, medicine, and education, and I was part of the medicine side. Thus, I wanted to do my best to help.
这一份心，这一个愿力，我们要心愿共同，永恒的永恒啊，不只是今生，还要有来世哈。 常时呢，为人间爱的能量。
Combining love into education, Tzu Chi's educational mission promotes book reading sessions, as Dharma was incorporated into each reading.
May education help people and make peace within this world. I hope that Tzu Chi may continue spreading the goodness of education.
No matter if you are facing troubles or issues with other people, you must put yourself as the lowest priority.
We must change our bad habits, and through practice, we change ourselves so that bad habits will no longer emerge.
The massive responsibility of recording history goes to Tzu Chi's Humanitarian Center.
Master Zheng Yan has already designed the Bodhisattva's way, so we must follow it by reporting and recording. Besides recording the history along the way, we must also allow every volunteer in the world to be on the same path.
Welcoming the 55th anniversary, Tzu Chi invited all volunteers from around the world, and through 12 different languages, everyone gathered to pray for a peaceful year.
The monthly distribution at Hualien Jingce Boat is held as scheduled. The villagers from nearby tribes were also invited to participate in Tzu Chi's 55th anniversary activities. The Hualien County government has been cooperating with Tzu Chi for various charitable relief for a long time. They also went to Jingce Boat to celebrate Tzu Chi's 55th birthday. Take a look.
Chanting sutra piously, the Dharma masters in Hualien Jingce Boat and volunteers were praying for the world. Hualien County Magistrate Xu Zhenwei also came to Jingce Boat to thank Tzu Chi for their dedication for 55 years.
Thank you, Tzu Chi, for being in Hualien or around the world by different means to make the world more stable and peaceful, and to make everything in Hualien very safe.
People in Hualien are simple and rich in love.
Tzu Chi has 4 missions, including charity to relieve poverty, medical to safeguard lives and nurture medical talents, as well as education and humanity to enrich wisdom.
真正普及到平民世界，平民的世界啦，不要有高低的差别，所以点滴啦可以成河。50多年啦，所看见的成果呢，这都是人人用爱付出。
Through singing, village heads from various tribes thanked Tzu Chi for their sincere companion with the local villagers for many years.
The indigenous people joined us to celebrate Tzu Chi's 55th birthday with their familiar songs.
Thank you all, Dharma masters. Thank you. Everyone's in a good mood.
The regular monthly distribution was held as usual, which has already lasted for 55 years, upholding the initial aspiration of serving the community with kindness.
On the 55th anniversary of Tzu Chi Foundation, Taipei Tzu Chi Hospital held a lecture as nutritionists shared the benefits of vegetarianism. At the event, apples, Jingce instant noodles, and vegetarian bookmarks were given to visiting participants.
In order to control and maintain our body, besides consuming medicine, our eating habits are also helpful. Nutritionists from Taipei Tzu Chi Hospital has a few tips on how to maintain healthiness.
We can reduce eating animals because they contain fatty acid, whereas vegetarian food contains more vegetable protein, which is helpful to our body. By consuming vegetarian food, it benefits our blood sugar, blood pressure, blood lipids, and it also controls our weight.
As citizens still have misunderstandings on vegetarianism, Ms. Li, who goes vegetarian 2 days a month, was benefited after knowing how to pick the right ingredients and to eat with order.
After replenishing iron, we must consume vitamin C as it helps with our body's intake of iron, and I will try to eat more vegetarian meals.
The lecture was held on the 55th anniversary of Tzu Chi Foundation, and as everyone was invited to go vegetarian, Jingce instant noodles and apples were given, symbolizing longevity and peace.
A 6th grade graduate of a school affiliated with Tzu Chi University planted a graduation tree in a time capsule, returning 20 years later to check the progress. Thank you for watching. Goodbye.